There is a number in your dental insurance that most people have never looked up. It is the most the plan will pay for you in a year, and on a lot of plans, it is $1,000. That figure was set in the 1980s. It has not moved since. A root canal on a back tooth, plus the crown that has to go on top of it afterwards, runs somewhere between $1,500 and $5,000. So one tooth, a single tooth out of 32, uses up the entire year's benefit and then some. Now think about what insurance is supposed to do. You buy it for the disaster. Small problems you pay for yourself, and the big one, the one you could never absorb, is the reason the policy exists. Your car insurance does not pay for oil changes and then walk away when the car is written off. Dental works the other way round. Cleanings and checkups are covered at 100%. Fillings and extractions around 80%. Crowns, bridges, dentures, root canals, the expensive end, about 50%. And only until you hit that cap. The more the work costs, the less of it is covered. That is not a flaw in the product. That is the product. And once you see why it is built that way, the twice yearly cleaning you have been going to your whole life stops looking like healthcare and starts looking like something with a very specific job to do. Right, most people watching this have never looked up their own annual maximum, not once. The money comes out every month. It has done for years. And the single most important number in the whole policy is a blank. So go and find it. It is on your benefits summary. It takes about 90 seconds and it will say something like 1,000 or 1,500. Put that number in the comments. If you have ever hit it, put the year next to it, because I would like to see how many people found out where the ceiling was by walking into it. Like the video if you did not know yours. Subscribe if you are about to go and have a look. Take the standard structure properly, because the shape of it is the whole argument. Preventative care, which means your checkup, your cleaning, and your x-rays, is covered at 100%. You pay nothing. Basic work, fillings, and simple extractions is usually 80%. Major work, the crowns and bridges and root canals, is usually 50%. And all of it sits the annual maximum, which stops everything dead once you reach it. Line those up and the plan is a slope running the wrong way. The cheapest, most predictable, least urgent thing you can have done is the thing it covers completely. The thing that actually hurts, that you did not plan for, that costs real money, is the thing it covers half of and then abandons. No other insurance you own behaves like this. Home insurance does not cover replacing a light bulb at 100% and cap the fire damage at $1,000. Health insurance has a deductible you pay first and then it takes over, which is the correct way round. Dental has the deductible, the co-insurance, and then a ceiling on top, so you are exposed at the small end and exposed again at the large end and covered comfortably only in the middle where nothing much happens. It is not really insurance at all. It is a discount card with a spending limit. And the reason that matters is that people buy it thinking it is the other thing. The cap is the piece that does the damage. And the most useful thing about it is who is complaining. The American Dental Association, which is the dentist's own organization, publishes on this directly. Their words: many dental plans' annual maximums have not increased in 50 years. They note the $1,000 level was established some 40 years ago. Their own figures put around a third of in-network maximums still sitting in that $1,000 to $1,500 band today. Hold those two dates against each other. The cap was set at a time when a crown cost a fraction of what it costs now. Everything else in dentistry moved. Materials, wages, rent, equipment, the price of the work itself. All of it climbed for 4 decades. The premium climbed too. The maximum sat exactly where it was. Nobody had to cut your benefit. Inflation did it, year after year, without a single letter going out to a single customer. $1,000 in the mid-80s bought roughly 3 times what $1,000 buys today. So the plan you have now covers about a third of what the same plan covered when the number was chosen. Same figure on the page, a third of the protection behind it. And you can see the result in how people behave. In one survey of over 2,000 American consumers, 48% of people who had dental insurance said they had skipped a visit or a recommended procedure because of the cost. Not uninsured people, insured ones. Almost half of them holding a policy, deciding they could not afford to use it. Here is the part that reframes everything, and it is not hidden. It is written down plainly in the trade press that dentists read. Ask why an insurer would cover anything at 100%. Insurers do not hand out free things. Every other line on the policy is fighting over percentages. The cleaning is the one item where they simply pay in full twice a year without argument. They pay because that appointment is where the rest of the money comes from. In dental practice management writing, the hygiene appointment is not described as a service. It is described as an engine. One consultancy that advises practice owners puts it about as directly as it can be put. The hygiene chair is your number one source of diagnosed dentistry. The same material explains that the hygiene department frequently does not make money on its own at all, that a hygienist has to hit a production target of around $1,500 a day to justify the chair, and that if their pay creeps past roughly a third of what they produce, the practice is subsidizing the room rather than earning from it. So the cleaning is not the business. The cleaning is the appointment where the business gets found. You're lying back for 40 minutes, once every 6 months, while a trained professional inspects every surface of every tooth and writes down what needs doing. That is genuinely what a checkup is for, and finding problems early is real medicine. But look at what the insurance structure does to it. The plan pays 100% for the appointment that generates the work, and 50% up to a ceiling for the work itself. It funds the search completely and the solution partially. The free half of your dental plan exists upstream of the expensive half, and it is very good at feeding it. There is a second thing about that chair that makes it different from most places you spend money. You cannot check the work, not the quality of it, and more importantly, not the necessity of it. Somebody looks at a grey shadow on an x-ray of a tooth you have never seen and tells you it needs a filling. You have no way to evaluate that claim. You are horizontal, your mouth is open. The person telling you is the only one in the room who can see it, and the appointment ends in about 10 minutes. A lot of those calls are genuinely borderline. Early decay in enamel can be watched, remineralized, and monitored, or it can be drilled and filled today. Both are defensible. Dentists disagree with each other about individual teeth all the time, honestly and in good faith, which is exactly why second opinions in dentistry so often come back different. This is not an accusation. It matters that it is not, because the moment you turn this into dentist's lie, you have got the story wrong, and you will make worse decisions. The point is narrower and more uncomfortable than that. When a professional judgment is genuinely close, and one answer produces revenue, and the other does not, you have a structural problem that does not require a single dishonest person to produce a pattern. The same shape shows up in car repair, in vet work, in anything where the expert diagnoses and then sells the fix. Dentistry just has the highest visit frequency of any of them. Now put yourself on the other side of the chair, because the economics from there explain where the industry is heading. You are in a network dentist. You have signed an agreement with the insurer that says you will accept their fee schedule, which is less than your normal fee, in exchange for being on their list. So your prices on covered work are set by somebody else. Your patient's ability to pay for that work stops at a ceiling set in the 80s, and your overheads went up every year regardless. There is one part of the practice where none of that applies: whitening, veneers, bonding, clear aligners, implants often. Cosmetic and elective work sits outside the insurance system entirely, which means no fee schedule, no percentage split, no annual maximum, and no third party deciding what it is worth. The patient just pays. That is why the growth end of modern dentistry looks the way it does. Not because dentists stopped caring about teeth, but because the insured half of the practice has a hard limit bolted onto it, and the uninsured half does not. Money goes where the ceiling is not. You may have heard that private equity has taken over dentistry. This is worth being careful about, because the number that gets repeated is not solid, and the real picture is more interesting than the headline. The commonly quoted claim is that dentistry is around 35% consolidated. That figure is disputed, and the people disputing it are not the industry's defenders. They are people checking the arithmetic. The verifiable numbers are lower. Roughly 16% of American dentists were affiliated with a dental support organization as of 2024. Around 13% had private equity involvement as of 2021. Something close to 3/4 of American dentists still own their own practice. So no, the corporate takeover is not finished, and anyone telling you dentistry is definitely owned by a fund is overstating it. The part that is real is generational. The American Dental Association's own research arm looked at roughly 200,000 practicing dentists and found that more than 1 in 4 of those within 10 years of leaving dental school were affiliated with one of those organizations. Among older dentists, the proportion is far lower, so the ownership model is not sweeping through the profession. It is arriving with each new intake, which is slower and much harder to reverse, which means the honest version is not that your dentist has been bought. It is that the dentist who replaces your dentist is considerably more likely to be an employee. Underneath every part of this sits one strange fact that almost nothing else in medicine has to deal with. Your mouth is insured separately from the rest of your body. There is no biological reason for that. Infection in a tooth is an infection. The mouth is not a distinct organ system that happens to fall outside general health. The separation is historical. Dentistry organized itself as its own profession, with its own schools and its own qualifications, on a separate track from medicine. And when insurance was built around the medical system in the 20th century, dentistry was already outside it, and simply stayed outside it. Everything else follows from that accident. A separate policy, a separate premium, a separate deductible, and a benefit cap that no serious medical plan would be allowed to have, because a medical plan with a $1,500 annual ceiling would not be a real product. Here is the case for the other side, because it exists and it is not weak. The 100% cleaning coverage is not a trick, or at least not only a trick. Preventative dentistry works. Cavities caught early are cheaper, less painful, and less damaging than cavities caught late, and a benefit design that removes every barrier to turning up twice a year genuinely does improve outcomes at a population level. If you wanted to design a plan that maximizes the number of people getting checked, you would design something that looks a lot like this. The cap has a defense too. Dental costs are frequent, predictable, and largely effective in timing, which makes them very hard to insure in the classic sense. An uncapped dental plan would be enormously more expensive per month, and most people would not buy it. The cap is what keeps the premium at a level people will actually pay. So the strongest version of the criticism is not that the product is a scam, it is that the product is misnamed. If it were sold as what it is, a prepaid maintenance plan with a spending limit, nobody would be surprised at the counter. It is called insurance, so people think they are covered for the disaster, and they find out that they are not at the exact moment the disaster arrives. And the number that would fix the confusion has not moved in 50 years, which tells you something about who the current arrangement is working for. Like it, subscribe. The rest of the videos are in the money and business playlist. Bye bye.